So I have a confession. I used to not like slow cooker crock pot meals. I thought they were kind of one note, they didn't have much flavor, the texture was kind of mushy, and I thought they were bland. I wasn't that impressed until I found the right crock pot to use, and two, I found the right recipes to make. In this video, I'm sharing 10 of my dump and go recipes in the crock pot that I love so much. I am sharing those with you, and I hope you're inspired to, if you have the same feelings about slow cooker meals, maybe some of these will change your mind. All right, let's get into it. I'm gonna share those 10 recipes with you. Before we do, if you haven't already, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you can be a part of this community. All right, let's get started and let me show you that first recipe.
This first recipe I'm making is lemon garlic butter chicken thighs. I start with 6 to 8 boneless, skinless chicken thighs, which I love the flavor of chicken thighs, and they are also a little harder to overcook, so that's why they're perfect in a crock pot. I'm trimming the fat off these to make them a little leaner, and now I'm gonna add 1/3 cup of chicken broth, and also in there is the juice of 1 lemon and the zest of half of that lemon. I'm adding 1 teaspoon of onion powder, and I'm also going to add this black garlic by Pampered Chef. I'm going to add about 1 teaspoon of that, but you can also use garlic powder. And then I'm going to add a 1/2 teaspoon of this Italian seasoning. I'll sprinkle on a 1/2 teaspoon of paprika, and also I'm going to add just a little bit of red pepper flakes. I don't like as much heat, but my family loves spicy things, so I'm adding this for them. Next, I'm going to press 4 garlic cloves using my Pampered Chef garlic press, which I love. And this time I'm actually using fresh garlic instead of the minced garlic from the jar. I think it's just going to add more flavor in this dish.
And we're going to add 1/2 stick of butter
that I've sliced.
Put like 1 of these on each of our chicken thighs. And don't forget the salt.
Something else I wanted to add is this minced onion. It's totally optional as there's onion powder already in there, but I wanted a little more onion flavor, about a 1/2 teaspoon. I'm now going to cover it with a lid, and we're going to cook this on high for 3 hours. After the 3 hours, it's all done cooking, and we're going to serve this up with cauliflower rice. Or you can use anything like mashed potatoes or any kind of rice or anything to help sop up that wonderful sauce. This turned out so delicious. My family absolutely loved it, but don't take my word for it. Let's see what they think.
What was that?
Very fragrant.
Good.
Aromatic. Chicken is very tender.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you taste the lemon?
Oh yeah.
Good.
Zest?
Zest and lemon juice.
I could tell.
He can tell.
Very nice.
This next slow cooker meal is one of my favorites. All of these ingredients came from Aldi, starting with these restaurant style meatballs. They're fully cooked. They're the pork and beef. You can use any meatball. And then I have these Alfredo stuffed gnocchi. They are so good and they're perfect in this. You can use any style gnocchi that you wish. And then Rayo's marinara sauce, any style, any brand of marinara sauce, a full jar, and a can of fire roasted diced tomatoes. I add the meatballs, the tomato sauce, and the can of tomatoes to the crock pot and let that cook on high for at least 2 hours. Then I add the gnocchi and let that cook for another 30 minutes. You can use any kind of gnocchi. You can also use ravioli. You can use stuffed tortellini. Any kind of stuffed pasta would be so good in this. I served it up with a Caesar salad after sprinkling on some Parmesan cheese on those meatballs, and this was fabulous. A definite winner, and I'll be making this again for sure.
Next up, I'm making a wonderful dump and go garam masala. It's gonna have such earthy flavors and so many wonderful spices, and my family loves it. So the first thing I'm gonna do is prepare the sauce, which I'm gonna dump all the ingredients in here, and then we're gonna add our chicken thighs. First thing I'm going to add is a 28 ounce of a can of crushed tomatoes. Next, I'm going to add our diced onions. This is 1/2 diced onion. I have some frozen tomato paste. I'm going to use a little less than 1/2 of it, so about 1/4 a cup of tomato paste. Going to add a couple of teaspoons of minced garlic. I have my ginger paste. We'll add 2 teaspoons of that. Actually, let's add a little more.
You could also use fresh minced ginger for this.
Next is turmeric. We're gonna add about a teaspoon of turmeric. And the key ingredient, Garam Masala. So let's add about 2 teaspoons of Garam Masala. Next up, cumin. Crushed cardamom seeds that I got out of the pods. We're gonna add just a teaspoon of those and just a sprinkle of some red pepper flakes. We're gonna mix all of that up, breaking up that tomato paste. I cut my chicken thighs into bite-sized pieces.
I stir that up well, and now I'm going to add just a little sprinkle more of that garam masala for added flavor, and also a teaspoon of salt.
It smells so good, those spices. Oh, it smells so rich and delicious. We're gonna cook that on high. Now that I've put the pot on my insert, I'm gonna cook that on high for 3.5 hours. I'm gonna add 1 cup of heavy whipping cream and stir that together and put it on high for just 30 minutes. I microwaved this steamable riced cauliflower and put that at the base of my bowl and just topped it with that wonderful chicken and sauce. It is divine. Smells delicious, looks amazing. Can't wait to dig in. All right, for an easy dump and go, this is the seasoned steakhouse chuck roast. I got this from Aldi. We're gonna add it to our Dutch oven pot on the Pampered Chef insert. We're gonna let it slow cook for about 5 hours on low, and it's going to be that easy. Let's make dinner. Since our roast is already seasoned, I'm not even going to sear the meat. I think it'll have enough flavor, but just to make sure we have a little added broth here, just going to add about 1/2 cup of beef broth to the bottom. And then we're just gonna cover it and let it do its thing.
When our roast is almost done, I'm going to take this lemony greens Knopfli that was frozen I got from Aldi. I was so curious about this as a side dish. I had a feeling it was going to pair so well to any protein I made it with. It's a quick cook on high for 7 minutes in the microwave, and you end up with something so rich and delicious.
All right, all cooked. Within minutes, we have this wonderful Knopfli that has kale and Parmesan and lemon sauce. It is so good. It reminds me of gnocchi. So it's like potato dumplings, little potato bites, but it's like a pasta and has that kale, and that sauce goes perfectly with it. It's creamy and has a little tang, but it's delicious. There's our hearty dinner. The roast sliced up with the Knopfli underneath. So hearty, tasty, great comfort food, and most of all, so easy.
Up next in my slow cooker is chicken enchilada soup.
Okay, we're gonna add our full package of chicken breasts. We're gonna add 1 can of whole kernel sweet corn. I've drained all the liquid. 1 can of green chili enchilada sauce. 1 can of rotel. And 1 can of green chilies. I'm also gonna add 1 cup of chicken broth. I'm gonna mix that up. Make sure my chicken is completely submerged. Put a lid on, and we're gonna cook this on low for 5 hours. I forgot to record, but I did add a cup of heavy whipping cream, 4 ounces of cream cheese after I shredded all the chicken. Shredded the chicken, put it back in the pot, and then added those ingredients. I also added a block of shredded cheddar cheese, about 1/4 of a block, and we're gonna have just a little bit left for the top
of the soup for when we're serving it. This soup has a tradition of being our Halloween dinner. When the kids were younger, they would go trick-or-treating, and this would cook all day, and then it'd be ready for them when they're done trick-or-treating. It was the perfect dish to come home to, and we paired it with tortilla chips, sour cream, and avocados on the side. This next slow cooker meal is a favorite of most people. It is easy and well known, and if you haven't made this before, I am so thrilled to be the one to introduce it to you. It is the Mississippi roast. It has 5 ingredients, and you can do it with either pork or beef. I really like it with pork, and I have a ribeye roast here. It's going to have brown gravy mix, ranch dressing, and pepperoncinis. I start with our ranch seasoning, our ranch dressing mix, and I'm going to sprinkle that on the roast, the entire packet. Then I'm going to add the brown gravy mix, the entire packet on top of that. Then I'm going to add 1 stick of butter. Unsalted is preferred because of the higher salt content in those packets. And then we're going to add our pepperoncinis. I usually add about 5 or 6 pepperoncinis right from the jar, or you can adjust the heat on this, making it less or more pepperoncinis to your liking. I then add 1/4 cup of the juice right from the jar, all on top of everything. I cover it with a lid and cook it on low for 8 hours. Once it's done cooking, I shred all the meat and mix it back with that broth. It is so good, and I love to pair this with our cauliflower mashed potatoes, or you could use regular mashed potatoes or just about anything. If you have tried this, I would love to hear about it. Tell me in the comments if you make this all the time or if you are new to this recipe. My next dump and go recipe includes frozen chicken breasts. I love that we can put frozen chicken into the crock pot and dinner is ready and you don't have to worry about defrosting your meat if you forget. I put the chicken breasts in the base of the crock pot, and now I have a bag of frozen vegetables. These are mixed vegetables. I'm going to put them on top of the chicken. Then I have some frozen onions. They're chopped onions. I'm going to add about 1/2 cup of those on top of the vegetables. I have a can of turkey gravy. I'm going to put the whole can in the crock pot, and then I'm going to add the can. I'm going to add 1/2 a can of water and put that on top. For seasonings, I'm going to add garlic powder and just sprinkle that on there, about 1/2 teaspoon. I'll cover and cook on high for 3 to 4 hours. Once it's done cooking and everything is up to temp, I add 1/3 cup of yogurt to the mix, or you can add sour cream. I like the tang of this. It adds that creaminess and that flavor. It's just so good together. I give that a good stir, put the lid back on, and let that heat through for another 20 to 30 minutes. Just before serving, I'll add 1/2 cup of shredded Parmesan cheese, and I'll mix that all together, cover it with a little again so that everything melts through. But this is ready to serve, and it is so tasty. I love how everything came together, and I love that this was a great way to use up all those frozen ingredients. One of the easiest dump and go meals that my family loves is this pork with sauerkraut. It's just 3 ingredients: a package of your boneless pork ribs, a can of sauerkraut, shredded sauerkraut, and 1 package of your onion soup and dip mix. Usually it's by Lipton. I got this from Aldi, so it's an off-brand, but same thing. It's your onion soup mix. It's the dry ingredients. You're just gonna dump all of that into your slow cooker on low for 6 hours. Added all the sauerkraut on top of the pork in 1 even layer, and now the 3rd ingredient, soup and recipe mix, onion, just gonna crumble that on top, and that's all there is to it. Halfway through cooking, so about 3 hours in, I go ahead and flip the pork ribs so that they're in the juice more, and that sauerkraut is mixed around more evenly as well. I love serving this with cauliflower mashed potatoes, and on this occasion we just had some broccoli that was left over to go with it. I love this meal. It is so good. This next recipe shocked me and my family as to being the best way we now enjoy our chicken wings. I added 2 packages of our fresh chicken wings into our slow cooker. I'm now going to add 4 tablespoons of melted butter with 2 tablespoons of minced garlic all over the chicken wings. Using my basting brush, I will spread the garlic and butter evenly all over those chicken wings, making sure everything is coated well. I'll set it on high for 3 hours, cover it with a lid, and after 3 hours, they are done cooking and they're ready to eat. However, we like our wings crispy, so we take this extra step, but it's optional. But I'm gonna put them in the air fryer. So I'm gonna remove them and put them on my air fryer rack. I transferred the chicken wings to the air fryer rack, laying down tinfoil first for the drippings. I'm gonna put these in the air fryer on the air fryer setting for about 8 minutes at the top rack so they get a nice char, nice broil. And then we're gonna do it for another few minutes with some Parmesan cheese. Back into the air fryer for 2 more minutes. These turn out amazing. They are crispy on the outside, they are super juicy on the inside, and we used to always make our wings on the grill, but now this is becoming our favorite method, and I will probably do it this way always. Here's another dump and go crock-pot meal that's so easy. Corned beef brisket. Next time you see this and aren't sure how to use it, this is the recipe for you. Just take the package, follow the directions regarding the spices, put it in your crock-pot, and pour 6 ounces of Guinness beer around the corned beef. Cook it on high for 6 to 8 hours. That's all there is to it. You can serve it with some mashed potatoes or carrots or cabbage or anything you like, but I love to turn this into sliders. I add these on my Hawaiian rolls with some wonderful cheese, either cabbage or coleslaw for crunch. I put them in my air fryer and I serve them up. They are amazing. I hope you have enjoyed all these recipes and were inspired. I've added recipes, timestamps, and my favorite slow cooker in the description box below. Thanks again for watching. I'll see you on the next video.